So, you're a senior multi-cloud architect. That means you're not just managing clouds. You're basically a translator. You're trying to enforce one single security truth across platforms that, let's be honest, were never really designed to speak the same language. Well, today, we're going to tackle that exact problem head-on and build a blueprint for getting some consistency.
Okay, let's dive right into the core problem you're probably facing every single day. I'm talking about navigating the multi-cloud security maze. It really is a maze, isn't it? Just a tangle of different services, different APIs, and totally different security models. So, here's the million-dollar question. How do you actually do it? How do you create one security policy that works just as well on AWS as it does on Azure and on Google Cloud? It's kind of like asking 3 different construction crews to build the exact same house from one blueprint, but they're all using completely different tools and measurements. It's the central challenge of your job, and the answer isn't some magic tool, it's a strategy. And let's be real here. This is not just you. This is complex stuff. Managing these disparate environments is widely known as one of the toughest gigs in tech right now. So you're definitely not alone in feeling this pain. But what if there was a way to bring some real order to all that chaos?
This is where we bring in the solution. We're talking about your standardized rulebook. See, the absolute key to consistency and to keeping your sanity in a multi-cloud world is setting up clear, enforceable security baselines.
So what even is a security baseline? Well, when you boil it all down, it's just a standardized level of security configuration that every single system has to meet, no exceptions. The best way to think about it? It's like the building code for your entire cloud. Before you build anything new, before you deploy a new app, you have to meet these minimum safety and structural requirements.
Now, let's get really precise on the language here, because these two words get mixed up all the time, and the difference is crucial. What's a baseline versus a benchmark? Think of it like this. The baseline is the what. It's the rule itself, right? Like all storage buckets must block public access. The benchmark, on the other hand, is the how. It's the actual test you run to prove that you're following the rule. You really can't have one without the other.
So who writes this building code anyway? The good news is you don't have to invent all of this from scratch. There are trusted organizations out there that have already done all the heavy lifting. So let's meet these standard setters.
You've really got 2 giants in this space. First, there's CIS, which stands for the Center for Internet Security. And then you have NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology. Now, these aren't just random companies. They're nonprofits and government agencies that create these incredibly detailed standards through industry consensus. And that's exactly why they've become the gold standard. They represent what the whole industry agrees secure actually looks like.
Okay, so we've got these big third-party standards, but how do they actually connect to the cloud services you're using every day? Let's connect those dots between the cloud providers and what it means to be compliant.
And this is where the rubber really meets the road. The big cloud providers, we're talking AWS, Azure, GCP, they're not ignoring these standards at all. In fact, it's the opposite. They build their native security tools to map directly to CIS and NIST benchmarks. They're basically handing you the inspection tools you need to enforce that building code right on their own platform. All right, that's enough theory. Let's see what this actually looks like in a real-world workflow. It's time to put these baselines into action and walk through a practical example.
Okay, so just imagine you've got an application workload that's already up and running. Your goal is to make sure it meets the established CIS benchmark for whatever cloud it's sitting in. Here's how you'd probably go about it.
What's great is that the process itself is really straightforward, and it's repeatable, and that is the absolute key. First, you just pick your workload. Step 2, you use a tool, often one that's built right into the cloud platform to scan it against that CIS benchmark. Third, you analyze what you find. And fourth, and this is the most critical part, you prioritize and you remediate. It's a continuous loop, not a one-and-done thing.
So when you get those scan results back, it's not just some giant scary list of everything that's wrong. And this is what's so powerful about it. The output turns all that raw data into a real, actionable plan. It gives you the specific finding, like say an IAM policy that's way too permissive. Then it tells you the severity. Is this critical or just a medium? And finally, it gives you a clear remediation priority, marking this one as a P1. This is how you stop guessing and start systematically chipping away at risk.
So, after all that, what's the big takeaway here? It's this. Security baselines, built on trusted standards from groups like CIS and NIST, are what allow you to stop playing whack-a-mole with security issues. This is how you shift from a chaotic, reactive mode to one that is structured, repeatable, and actually measurable. This is how you finally bring some order to that multi-cloud maze.
And that brings us to the final thought for this explainer. As we move towards more and more advanced AI and automation in how we manage our clouds, it really begs the question, will we get to a point where our security baselines can dynamically generate, apply, and even heal themselves? Definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in.